All right, so Raymond had a job, a good wife, a life that many people might envy. Unfortunately, what many people didn't see on the outside, he was suffering quite a bit.
My life before carnivore and before I even found out I was pre-diabetic, I had rosacea. I had such bad allergies. So in the springtime, I would literally have to have these big goggles, a cloth over my mouth just to go outside.
He was physically miserable, often emotionally drained. He had skin problems, acne, dandruff, rosacea. His gut was very painful from irritable bowel syndrome. And he would spend sometimes several hours a day on the toilet, so bad that sometimes he wouldn't be able to go out. He would sometimes bleed for 2 weeks at a time.
The other thing is my bowel. I have irritable bowel, either disease or syndrome. I have a little fear of the doctor, so I never really got it checked. But when I flared up, I would bleed for 2 weeks at a time, and this happened quarterly.
He had extreme pain from something called plantar fasciitis, and that is every time his heel touched the ground, he was in excruciating pain. He started that way every single day. Pain was, extremely severe. 8 out of 10 could barely walk at times.
Other things I've had is plantar fasciitis, and so right when I get out of bed, I would almost tumble over because the pain hurt so much.
This affected his moods. He would have often very bad moods, secondary to being in pain, discomfort, and being inflamed.
But there were many, many other issues. I snored real bad. I snored so bad that my wife, she couldn't sleep with me anymore.
Couldn't even be in the same room. He had such a bad problem with snoring. This often leads to further problems with more insulin resistance, weight gain. Actually, that condition can actually shorten your life. And so he was often forced to take naps. Even after eating lunch, his blood sugar had become extremely unstable. We know that rapidly dropping blood sugar can cause tiredness. It can cause severe hunger. It can cause difficulty concentration, can make it even unsafe to drive at times. And so he knew something had to be done. He was 5'10", weighed in at 252 pounds, had a 44-inch waist, buttons were popping off his shirt. He was now pre-diabetic, pre-hypertensive with a blood pressure of 140 over 90. He had developed insulin resistance. He was at high risk for heart disease, and then he went to the eye doctor.
I started off because I found out I was pre-diabetic, and I was like, I gotta do something about it. After researching things about diabetes, I found out that from diet doctor that keto can cure diabetes, and I was like, all right, it's worth a shot. 6 weeks, what do I have to lose?
What happened was that he decided to try this, and after 6 weeks on a ketogenic diet, he'd lost some weight, started to feel a lot better. Still had some carbs, so he was still having some cravings, but it was a lot better. He had some of the so-called keto flu, where he'd had headaches and some fatigue and things like that, but he toughed it out.
My first transition that I went into carnivore, I did have the keto carnivore flu. A weakness, and when I say weak, I was walking like a baby. I could make only small little steps here and there. Yeah, it was bad. Constant nasal issues, constant headache, couldn't think at all. It felt like somebody was sitting on my brain the whole time. Needless to say, I felt so good that I was compelled that I was going to do this again. I was not going to quit.
He eventually actually saw something with me and decided to try a carnivore diet. He tried to do a 3-month carnivore diet trial, and he had incredible results.
I went into carnivore when Dr. Shawn Baker announced the study trial. So I went on the September 15th one, and I said, I'll do it for 3 months because that's what he requested. No supplements. I followed exact orders, measured myself daily like he wanted, answered those questionnaires daily for 3 months.
His cravings subsided on carnivore. He became accustomed to eating this way. He tried grass-finished meat, but ultimately decided to go with grain-finished meats from Costco, which gave him the best results. Saturated fat in the meat led to extreme satiety.
After 3 months, not that I cared about that, but I had the first six-pack in my life.
His heel spurs, his plantar fasciitis dropped down to almost zero pain at all. His blood pressure normalized at 115 over 75.
So my wife is back sleeping with me, no problem. Yeah, unfortunately she wakes me up because she snores. How ironic. I'm very level-headed now. I have that carnivore zen. My wife, my kids, nothing stresses me out anymore.
This is something that I see, just about every day now with this. This is wonderful to see. Now his diet now is 90% ribeye. Occasionally he'll put some cheese in there. If he goes out to eat, he might have some chicken, fish, lamb, or occasionally some eggs. All in all, he has changed his life tremendously. And I recently had the opportunity to finally meet Raymond in person a few weeks ago. It's good to shake his hand and see how much his life has improved. And he's gone on to impact literally hundreds and hundreds of other people through some of his coaching that he does, sharing wonderful benefits of eating in this fashion. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. We'll see you on the next video.